complaint, and then in response they accused you of blasphemy.
Well, no, because I myself am not a victim of pedophilia, obviously, at least not recently, or rape for that matter. I don't have any history of clergy sexual abuse, but I became aware of it as a result of complaining about non-sexual clergy abuse on the part of the previous minister, basically intolerance and bigotry and verbal and psychological abuse. As a result of that, I was kicked out of the church. But also as a result of that, in talking to other Unitarian Universalists who are advocates for victims of clergy misconduct, I became aware of their sexual abuse problems, and I blogged about some of it because they're not handling it properly. They're doing actually a terrible job of dealing with, worse than the Catholic Church in some ways. I'm not joking. They're also better at covering it up than the Catholic Church. They've been more successful. I mean, this whole blasphemous libel accusation was an effort to intimidate me into deleting blog posts that told the truth. They're just trying to keep it hidden as much as possible. So, and then, I told you the fourth principle, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Well, how can anyone engage in a free and responsible search for the truth and meaning of what I'm saying about their pedophiles and rapists if they can't even read my blog posts? Like whether you're saying something truthful or not, if you censor that, if you get rid of it, people aren't in a position to determine one way or the other. So that's a clear violation of their fourth principle. And as far as I'm concerned, as you can see from this picket signs, it's a perversion of justice. So it violates their second principle. They made a total mockery of everything they claim with me, and they've done it with plenty of other people too. So it's just another hypocritical church, another two-faced religion.
So what are you hoping to?
Well, at minimum, I'm bringing it to the attention of the public. You're hearing about it now, and there's other material on the internet. This whole blasphemous libel accusation arose out of blog posts that are still there. I never took them down. I just told the lawyer to, I won't say exactly what I told him to do.
Maybe I'll look for your blog posts.
Yeah, well, actually, the blog is called The Emerson Avenger. Okay. It's based on a saying by Ralph Waldo Emerson. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he had a saying, slowly but surely cometh the avenger. He meant justice. The word avenger refers to, he's meaning justice, and so that saying was sort of inspired the title of the blog. But if you just Google Unitarians and blasphemous libel or blasphemy law, you'll find at least that aspect of things.
So they don't ever come out here and talk to you or
well,
give you a hard time?
It's really quite funny because I've repeatedly offered to suspend the protest for, let's say, 2 months if they agree to enter into dialogue to address the issues, but they refuse. They're extremely willful ignorant, and there's a lot of psychological denial. I've been physically assaulted on occasion. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago, a guy who assaulted me last September was getting physically intimidating with me again. I told him, do you want another YouTube video? Because I shot it on video. I shot his assault on me, good. So it's all recorded, So once I suggested he might have another YouTube video, he changed his mind about assaulting me. No, I've had picket signs stolen. I've had false criminal charges brought against me. Like, this was a threat of a criminal charge that never materialized because it was complete bullshit. I just ridiculed the lawyer. Well, here's the funny thing is, like, they're accusing me of blaspheming against the Unitarian Universalist religious community for criticizing pedophilia and rape committed by their ministers. So what does that imply? It implies that pedophilia and rape are held to be sacred and holy by Unitarian Universalists. I saved that for a rainy day, but one day I sent a letter to the lawyer saying, are you trying to tell me that Unitarian Universalists hold such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape to be sacred and holy to Unitarian Universalists?
It's possible.
It's slightly possible, but in real terms, not really. No, but that's the legal implication, the logical implication of specifically accusing me of blasphemy for criticizing their pedophiles and rapists. It implies that they consider that to be sacred and holy, because blasphemy is attacking what a religion holds to be sacred and holy.
So
lawyer probably didn't enjoy receiving that letter.
I mean, it could be an unwritten part of their. I mean, it could be like the eighth.
No, but hey, I actually suggested that in the letter to the lawyer. I said, there's like some secret doctrine I don't know about.
Yeah.
Just skewering the guy. But
like
you're right.
Masons or
No,
something.
exactly. Well, I don't know if the Masons have that or not, but I know there's rumors, But yeah, you're absolutely right. That in theory, hypothetically, they could have this secret doctrine, and then I just skewered them on that point too. I said, you trying to tell me you got like some hidden doctrine that I'm not aware of? Yeah. Oh, I have a lot of fun with it, I can tell you.
It wasn't in the brochure when I
exactly. So no, it's just insanity on their part as far as I'm concerned. And the crazy thing is this happened in 2012. This is more than 4 years old now. I got the first demand letter on June 1st of 2012. So it's been more than 5 years. And within days, like I researched the law and everything, I checked everything, it was obvious that I wasn't guilty of blasphemous libel, and there's no way they could have a conviction if they charged me on that specific basis. And so I just said, this is false, and I expect you to formally withdraw that accusation. I expect you to publicly apologize for it, and I expect you to tell the truth about your pedophiles and rapists. Not just what I've told, but tell the whole story there. Now, of course, they've done none of those things, so here I am. Okay. It's just sheer insanity on their part, I think. They like to call me insane. I think I'm pretty grounded in the logic here.
Yeah, I guess churches are having a hard time in the age of the internet with all these things coming out.
Well, this is the funny thing is they've actually kept a lid on it, like in terms of the larger community. And I think as a result, I'm not the only person who's got this kind of letter, I'm sure. And they've been able to keep it hidden and minimized and so on for decades. And it's starting to leak out now, partly as a result of what I'm doing, partly as a result of what some other people are doing. But even when it comes out, they still try to sanitize it, or even outright deny it. Like as part of my efforts to get the head office to withdraw these false accusations and so on, and tell the truth, I spoke with one of the top level leaders when he was first elected. He came in a couple of years later. He came in 2013. He was the moderator, like the chairman of the board, as it were. Okay. And I spoke with him in 2013 about getting them to withdraw and apologize and so on. And I told him about specific cases where people have been charged and tried and convicted and sent to jail for these crimes. And he just broke off communication with me. And then in 2014, at their big annual general meeting, he delivered a utterly worthless apology to victims of clergy sexual misconduct, in which, amongst other things, he said, no children or elders were abused in my investigations. So he outright denied any abuse of children by Unitarian Universalist ministers, even though ministers have been charged, tried, and convicted and sentenced to jail terms for pedophilia or rape. So just outright lying in an apology about sexual abuse of children and getting away with it. When that happened, I called upon various ministers in the church who were concerned with these matters to speak out, and they didn't. They just kept their mouths shut. So he basically just told, they're literally, like, during this annual meeting, there's like thousands of members of the church in this big auditorium. He just told them, no child abuse in our religion. It doesn't exist. I looked and didn't find any. It's like, meanwhile, I told them, and I'm sure I wasn't the only one who told them stuff. So anyhow, you're engaging in a free and responsible search for meaning, so you're one up on the members of this church.
Okay, it was nice talking.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good talking to you. Yeah. So, good day. Make sure he sees the signs. Yeah, got a little nod here. Okay, so this looks like a neighborhood person, not someone going to church. I wasn't sure. Thought it might be someone entering the church. Let's see if we're still recording here. Oh, yes, we are. So we got that all recorded. That's good. So another interaction with the public. This guy was like looking at my picket signs and asked questions. I noticed the sensor is overheating, so the camera might shut off. I also noticed we're close to the end of another half-hour segment. We've only got about 3.5 minutes left. So anyway, I'm glad that whole conversation was recorded, especially the part where the guy, logically came up with the idea, maybe they have a secret, doctrine about holding pedophilia and rape sacred, which is a possibility. I mean, that's the only way that, I could actually be guilty of blasphemous libel against the Unitarian Universalist Church, is if they had some kind of doctrine that considered pedophilia and rape to be sacred and holy to Unitarian Universalism. He figured that out all on his own. I didn't have to tell him that after he came up with that, I told him what I'd said in the letter to the lawyer. But he just basically, he understood things, and I found that very interesting and even amusing. And I think he probably twigged on to the fact that I was recording, because I made no secret of the fact that I recorded, the assault on me by David Horan, and so he can probably deduce from that I was also recording this protest. And like I said, I literally have to record as much as possible in order to prevent false reports to the police, also to document the criminal acts by Montreal Unitarians, such as the assault on me by David Horan, such as the theft of my picket signs by other Montreal Unitarians, or indeed non-Montreal Unitarians. An Ottawa Unitarian stole my picket signs once. So I basically have to keep the camera running, and we still got about a minute and a half left, just to protect myself from false accusations, and also to document assaults and theft and so on against me by Montreal Unitarians. Since that's the case, I record everything, and I get interesting conversations with the public like that one. Still trying to remember what the third principle of Unitarian Universalism is, but I got the other 6 right on the money. Okay, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth. There we go. How are we doing for time? Oh yeah, got about a minute left. So yes, the third principle of Unitarian Universalism calls for acceptance of one another and encouragement of spiritual growth. Well, yeah, somehow I think that in many, many, many ways, Montreal Unitarians and other Unitarian Universalists do a piss-poor job of accepting God-believing people into Unitarian Universalist churches, especially those that are dominated by atheists, and encouraging their spiritual growth. Don't think Reverend Ray Drennan encouraged my spiritual growth by labeling me psychotic and labeling Creation Day as a cult. And on that note, we're wrapping up this because it's coming to an end.